The call from the stars. The great crystal observatory of New Lumina gleamed under the light of 3 moons. Inside, Science Director Talis of the Azraeli race stared at the emergency transmission console with all 4 of his eyes widened in horror. His delicate 6-fingered hands trembled as he replayed the message. This is Colony Outpost Serenity. We are under attack. Unknown vessels. Weapons beyond anything we've encountered. Our shields are failing. Please, anyone, help us. The transmission ended with a burst of static. Talis's pale lavender skin seemed to lose its natural luminescence as he turned to his assistant. This is the 3rd colony attacked in 2 months, he whispered. The Council must be informed immediately. The Azraeli were known throughout explored space as peaceful astronomers and philosophers. For millennia, they had voyaged among the stars, building elegant outposts to study celestial phenomena and sharing their knowledge freely. Their advanced shields were designed to protect against cosmic radiation and meteoroids, not weapons of war. Within hours, Talis stood before the Azraeli High Council in the vast crystal chamber on their homeworld. 7 elders sat in a semicircle, their expressions mirroring the fear that had settled in Talis's hearts. The Serenity outpost had no defensive capabilities. Talis explained, his voice steady despite his fear. 2,000 colonists, scientists, and their families, all gone. Elder Vari, the most ancient member, closed all 4 eyes briefly. Our vessels carry telescopes, not weapons. Our people study stars, not warfare. Then we must seek outside assistance, said Elder Neri, the youngest council member. We have allies. A heavy silence filled the chamber. Everyone knew which allies Neri meant. The humans, Talis said finally. You suggest we call upon Earth. They are our only hope, Neri replied firmly. Many council members shifted uncomfortably. Humans were relative newcomers to the galactic community. They emerged from a world classified as a death world, a planet with crushing gravity, extreme weather patterns, dangerous predators, and high levels of radiation. Most spacefaring species considered Earth utterly uninhabitable. Humans themselves were viewed with a mixture of fascination and trepidation. Their robust bodies could endure conditions that would kill an Azraeli in minutes. Their history was marked by constant warfare, yet they had somehow unified their planet and reached for the stars. The humans have been good neighbors since first contact, Elder Vari acknowledged. They have respected our boundaries and traded fairly. And they know how to fight, added Elder Neri. What we see is terrifying. They call Tuesday. The council voted swiftly. With thousands of lives at stake, there was no time for their usual days-long deliberations. Science Director Talis, you will take our fastest vessel to Earth, Elder Vari declared. Request their assistance, but be cautious about what you promise in return. The humans are honorable allies, but we know little about what truly motivates them. 3 days later, Talis's ship emerged from faster-than-light travel near Earth orbit. The blue-green planet looked deceptively peaceful from space, betraying nothing of its reputation as a crucible of evolution. As Talis prepared his diplomatic transmission, he watched Earth's orbital defenses tracking his vessel. Human military ships moved with deliberate precision around the planet, their designs clearly optimized for combat. This is Science Director Talis of the Azraeli Confederation. He began, sending his message toward Earth's primary communication station. I come seeking urgent assistance. Our colonies are under attack by an aggressive species known as the Corvin Dominion. He paused, then added words he never imagined speaking. We need your warriors. We need your weapons. The Azraeli formally request the protection of humanity. The response came with surprising speed. A stern-faced human appeared on his screen, wearing a uniform adorned with symbols Talis couldn't decipher. This is Admiral Helena Reyes of Earth Defense Command, the human said. We've received your distress call, Director Talis. Tell me everything about the situation. Talis transmitted all the data they had gathered on the attacks. Our people are dying. We have no way to fight back. Admiral Rice's expression hardened as she viewed the information. Our Security Council will need to approve any military action. But I can tell you this, Earth doesn't abandon its friends. For the first time since receiving the distress call, Talus felt a flicker of hope. He had just asked the most dangerous species he knew to go to war on behalf of his people. Admiral Helena Rice stared at her office window long after Director Talus's transmission ended. The images of the devastated Israeli colonies brought back memories of humanity's first steps into the wider galaxy 15 years earlier. She turned to her aide. Lieutenant Chen, call an emergency meeting of the United Earth Defense Council and get me everything we have on these Corvins. As the lieutenant hurried away, Rice looked out at the vast shipyards orbiting Earth. Dozens of warships floated silently in space, a testament to humanity's deep-rooted instinct to prepare for threats. The alien diplomatic corps had been shocked by this when they first arrived. In the council chamber 2 hours later, Reyes sat with 11 other military and civilian leaders. The room was quiet as they watched footage from First Contact Day. On the screen, a massive Israeli ship appeared over the plains of Kenya, humans watching from below with expressions of wonder and apprehension. They were so disappointed in us, General Okafor said with a dry chuckle. They expected us to have overcome warfare centuries ago. Reyes nodded. They classified Earth as a Class 12 death world, nearly uninhabitable by their standards. The footage changed to show alien representatives meeting human leaders. Most aliens moved cautiously in Earth's gravity, many wearing exoskeletal supports to function in what they considered crushing conditions. The Azraeli were the only ones genuinely interested in us, President Alvarez noted. The others just wanted to ensure we wouldn't pose a threat. Rice pressed a button, and the screen showed another image. An Israeli scientist looking stunned as a human casually lifted equipment that would have required mechanical assistance for the aliens to move. They think we're incredibly strong, Rice explained. Our world made us that way. High gravity, varied climates, predators throughout our evolution. What's normal for us is extreme for them. General Okafor leaned forward. And now they need that strength. The president looked troubled. If we help the Azraeli, we risk making enemies of these Corvins. We know almost nothing about them. We know they're attacking innocent colonists, Rice replied firmly. And the Azraeli were the only species that treated us like equals from the beginning. Lieutenant Chen entered with a data tablet. Sir, we've analyzed the attack footage. The Corvin ships are heavily armed and appear to have technology similar to our own level. The room grew quiet as everyone considered the implications. They're the first species we've encountered that seems as adapted to conflict as we are, Rice said finally. Perhaps they also evolved on a challenging world. President Alvarez stood and walked to the window. From there, they could see Earth below, serene and beautiful. For thousands of years, humans had fought each other. Now they were united, their weapons pointed outward. The Azraeli showed us friendship when others showed fear, the president said. We can't abandon them. She turned to face the room. Admiral Rice, you have authorization to deploy the fleet. But be careful, this is our first military action beyond our solar system. Rice nodded. I recommend sending the full Earth Defense Fleet. Gasps filled the room. The full fleet had never left Earth's solar system before. All of it? General Okafor asked, surprised. That's 60 warships and support vessels. The Corvins need to understand what they're dealing with, Rice said firmly. Humans don't fight small when our friends are threatened. The council leader called for a vote. One by one, hands raised around the table. The decision was unanimous. Very well, said the president. The Earth Defense Fleet will deploy to Azraeli space. God help us all if this goes wrong. As the meeting ended, Lieutenant Chen approached Rice privately. Ma'am, there's something else you should know. Our intelligence suggests the Corvins have been watching us. They may have targeted the Azraeli to draw us out. Rice's face hardened. Then we'll give them exactly what they're asking for. but I don't think they'll like the result." She looked again at the holographic display showing the devastated Israeli colony. "Prepare the fleet. We launch in 12 hours." The massive hangar of Earth's orbital military base hummed with activity. Soldiers moved with purpose, loading supplies and checking equipment. The air carried the scent of metal and synthetic fuel as preparations accelerated for humanity's first interstellar military operation. Captain Marcus Reed walked through the organized chaos, his experienced eyes missing nothing. As commander of the flagship Relentless, he carried tremendous responsibility on his shoulders. The ship represented the pinnacle of human military technology. 2 kilometers of reinforced alloy housing, the most powerful weapons humanity had ever built. "Status report," he demanded as he reached the command platform where his officers waited. Commander Diaz, his executive officer, handed him a datapad. "All 60 ships report ready for departure, Captain. The last Marine battalion just boarded." Reed nodded and looked up at the massive view screen showing the assembled fleet. Each warship gleamed under the distant sun, their hulls marked with the Earth Defense Force emblem. 10 years ago, these ships didn't exist. Humanity had built them after learning they weren't alone in the universe. "The Israeli must be desperate to ask for our help," said Weapons Officer Patel, running diagnostics on her systems. "They've always seemed unnerved by our military capabilities." "With good reason," Medical Officer Kagoa replied. "Remember, most galactic species evolved on worlds much safer than Earth. They never needed to develop the same survival instincts we have." Captain Reed looked around at his crew. Most were young, trained for a confrontation no one had expected would come so soon. "This is what we prepared for," he said quietly, "to protect Earth and our allies." The ship's communication system chimed. Admiral Rice's face appeared on the screen. "Captain Reed, is the Relentless ready?" "Yes, Admiral. All systems operational and crew at battle stations." The Admiral nodded. "Good. I just finished speaking with the Israeli director. Their main colony has lost contact with 3 outer settlements already. Time is running out." Reed felt a familiar tension settle between his shoulders. "How many civilians are we talking about, ma'am?" "Over 12,000 Israeli colonists," Rice said grimly. "If the Corvins are what our intelligence suggests, those people are in grave danger." After the Admiral's call ended, Reed addressed his crew through the shipwide system. His voice echoed through every compartment of the massive warship. "Attention all personnel. In 1 hour, we will make the jump to Israeli space. This is not a drill. This is not a training exercise. We are going to war." He paused, letting the words sink in. "The Israeli helped us when others wanted nothing to do with humans. Today, we return that friendship. The enemy we face calls themselves the Corvin Dominion. They've attacked peaceful worlds before. They will find that attacking a friend of Earth is a mistake they won't survive to repeat." Throughout the ship, men and women listened silently. Some looked apprehensive, others determined. All understood what was at stake. On the bridge, Officer Patel approached Captain Reed privately. "Do you think we're ready for this, fighting an alien enemy?" Reed watched through the viewport as the last supply shuttles docked with the fleet. "Humanity has been preparing for threats from space since we first looked up at the stars. The Azraeli thought we were paranoid. Now they need that paranoia to save them." He turned to his navigation officer. "Set course for the Israeli colony. Prepare for FTL jump." As the massive engines of the Relentless powered up, Reed thought about the irony of the situation. The galaxy had feared humans might bring war to the stars. Instead, humans would be bringing the stars their first taste of peace through strength. The fleet vanished into the darkness, bound for a battle that would redefine humanity's place among the stars. Wrath of the Deathworlders. The Earth fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Israeli colony system. Captain Marcus Reed stood on the bridge of the Relentless, his expression grim as the main viewscreen displayed the devastation ahead. The once beautiful Israeli research outposts now drifted as scattered debris. where elegant crystalline structures had housed thousands of scientists and their families. Only fragments remained, glittering coldly in the light of the system's blue star. "Life signs?" Reed asked, his voice tight. Science Officer Nakamura shook her head. "Scattered readings from the surface of the main colony planet, Captain. Maybe 2,000 survivors, huddled in underground shelters. The orbital stations are gone." A hush fell over the bridge. Everyone had seen footage of the peaceful Israeli, with their willowy frames and 4 gentle eyes. The thought of them being slaughtered by an unknown enemy stirred something primal in the human crew. "Tactical, full scan," Reed ordered. "Find me those Corvin bastards." Lieutenant Commander Jackson worked her console with practiced efficiency. "Multiple contacts, sir. 17 warships in formation around the third moon. They appear to be mining it, extracting resources from the surface." Reed's eyes narrowed. "So they're not just killers. They're thieves too." The communications officer turned from his station. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the Corvin fleet." On screen. The view screen changed to reveal a being unlike any the humans had encountered before. The Corvin commander had a broad, armored face with multiple rows of eyes and a jaw that seemed capable of crushing bone. Its voice came through the translator in a series of harsh clicks and growls. "Earth vessels. This system is now under Corvin authority. Depart immediately or be destroyed. Your primitive weapons are no match for the Dominion." Reed stood slowly, straightening to his full height. "This is Captain Marcus Reed of the Earth Defense Force flagship Relentless. You are attacking a peaceful species under Earth's protection. Power down your weapons and withdraw from this system, or face the consequences." The Corvin commander made a sound that might have been laughter. "We know of Earth, a pitiful mudball populated by soft creatures who think themselves strong. The Azraeli are weak. Soon they will be extinct, and their resources will strengthen the Dominion. You will be next." The transmission cut off abruptly. "Well," Reed said dryly, "diplomacy has failed. Battle stations. All ships form up in avalanche formation." Throughout the fleet, alarms sounded as crews rushed to their positions. The Earth vessels moved with surprising grace for their size, arranging themselves in a 3-dimensional wedge pattern, with the heaviest warships at the point. "They're moving to engage," reported Jackson. 17 vessels against our 60. They seem confident." Reed's mouth set in a hard line. "They've never fought humans before. Communications, get me Science Director Talas on the surface." After a few moments, the haggard face of the Azraeli leader appeared on a secondary screen. His normally lustrous skin was dull with exhaustion and fear. "Captain Reed," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "You came." "We gave our word," Reed replied simply. "Director, we need to evacuate any survivors. Where are your people hiding?" As Talas provided coordinates, Reed dispatched 5 of his medical and transport vessels to begin evacuation operations. The remaining 55 warships continued their advance toward the Corvin fleet. "They're powering weapons," Jackson reported. "Energy signatures are impressive. Similar to our phase cannons, but approximately 20% more powerful." Reed nodded. "They may have better guns, but let's see how they use them. Tactical, target their lead vessels. Standard human greeting protocol." A small smile flickered across Jackson's face as she input the commands. "Human greeting protocol confirmed, sir. All ships acknowledge." The Corvin fleet fired first, a barrage of energy weapons that split the darkness with brilliant streams of destructive force. 3 Earth vessels took direct hits, their shields flaring bright blue under the assault. "Shields holding at 72%, reported the engineering officer. "Those are some nasty weapons." Reed leaned forward in his command chair. "Return fire. Show them how humans say hello." What happened next would be recorded in the annals of galactic military history. The Earth fleet didn't just fire their main weapons. They launched a coordinated attack unlike anything the Corvins had encountered. Missile swarms deployed from multiple vessels simultaneously, each projectile containing not just explosives, but adaptive electronic warfare packages that interfered with Corvin targeting systems. Drone fighters poured from the larger carriers, piloted remotely by humans safely aboard their ships. Phase cannons fired in precisely timed sequences to overwhelm sections of Corvin shields. "They're breaking formation," Jackson reported, unable to keep the satisfaction from her voice. 3 of their vessels heavily damaged already. On the view screen, Reed watched as the first Corvin ship erupted in a sphere of white-hot plasma. The rest were scrambling to regroup, clearly shocked by the ferocity and coordination of the human attack. "Keep the pressure on," Reed ordered. "Don't give them time to adapt." The battle raged for 27 minutes, an eternity in space combat. When it ended, 11 Corvin vessels were destroyed outright. 3 more drifted powerless, and the remaining 3 had engaged their FTL drives to flee the system. The Earth fleet had lost 2 ships, with 7 others damaged but operational. For a first engagement with an unknown alien force, the casualty ratio was unprecedented. In the sudden quiet of the aftermath, Reed ordered rescue operations for any Corvin survivors and continued evacuation of the remaining Israeli. "Captain," said Communications Officer Chen, "we're receiving transmissions from systems throughout this sector. Word of the battle is spreading fast." Reed nodded. He'd expected as much. Put them through. One by one, representatives of various alien species appeared on the bridge screens. Some Reed recognized: the insectoid Trill, the gaseous Mribi, the crystalline Vosh. Others were unknown to him. All shared the same expression of stunned disbelief. "Is it true?" asked the Trill ambassador, her mandibles clicking rapidly. "You destroyed the Corvin fleet." "Not destroyed," Reed corrected. "Defeated. Some escaped to bring word to their leaders." "But how?" asked a Vosh elder, light pulsing through his crystalline form in patterns of confusion. "The Corvins have raided our outer colonies as well. Our military vessels were no match for them." Reed exchanged glances with his officers before answering carefully. "Humans come from a world that taught us to fight or die. We've spent thousands of years perfecting warfare against ourselves. Now we use those skills to protect our friends." A murmur ran through the alien representatives on the screens. "The Deathworlders have become protectors," said the Mribi counselor, their gaseous form shifting in what might have been wonder. Hours later, as the last of the Israeli survivors were being treated aboard the medical ships, Science Director Tallis requested to meet with Captain Reed in person. Despite his medical officer's objections about the incompatible atmospheres, Reed agreed, donning a lightweight breathing apparatus to accommodate the Israelis' needs. They met in a specially prepared conference room, where the gravity had been reduced to match the Azraeli homeworld. "My people owe you a debt we can never repay," Tallis said, all 4 eyes blinking rapidly in what Reed had learned was a sign of deep emotion. "Thousands of lives saved because Earth answered our call." Reed shook his head. "That's what allies do." "But there is something I don't understand," Tallis continued. "Your ships, your weapons, they were ready. As if you had been preparing for war your entire existence." Reed was silent for a moment before answering. "We have been. On Earth, peace was never a given. It had to be earned, often through conflict. When we reached the stars and discovered we weren't alone, we hoped for peace but prepared for war. Not because we wanted it, but because our history taught us to be ready." Tallis's delicate fingers trembled slightly. "The other species, they have always feared humans might bring violence to the stars. Instead, you brought protection. That's the thing about coming from a death world," Reed said with a small smile. "We know the value of life precisely because it's so hard to preserve. We fight fiercely not because we love war, but because we understand exactly what's at stake." As Reed left the meeting, Admiral Reyes contacted him from Earth. Her expression was serious but satisfied. "The Corvin Dominion has sent diplomatic envoys requesting immediate peace talks," she reported. "Apparently, the survivors of your little discussion made quite an impression when they returned home." Reed nodded, and the Council's response: "We'll negotiate, but from a position of strength. No more attacks on peaceful species will be tolerated. Earth is establishing a permanent defensive presence in this sector." Later that night, unable to sleep, Reed stood in the observation lounge of the Relentless. The stars shone coldly through the armored viewport. Somewhere out there, the Corvins were reassessing their understanding of the galaxy. So were many other species. Commander Diaz found him there, offering a cup of coffee. "The Israeli are already designing a memorial to the humans who died defending them," she said quietly. "They're calling it the Deathworlders' sacrifice." Reed took a sip of the bitter liquid. An interesting choice of words. "Not really," Diaz replied. "For thousands of years, Earth's harsh conditions forced us to become stronger, faster, more resilient. We thought it was a curse. Turns out it was preparing us for this moment, when the galaxy needed exactly what a death world creates." As the Relentless began its journey back to Earth, word of the battle spread across known space. The narrative shifted from fear of the dangerous humans to something new: respect for the Deathworlders who used their strength not to conquer but to protect. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as guardians. The peaceful species of the galaxy would sleep easier knowing that if danger appeared on their doorstep, they could call upon the children of Earth, evolved in fire, tempered by struggle, and now dedicated to ensuring that the weak need not fear the strong.